What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I got with me today an incredible Superman, superhero, superhuman, one of my favorite drummers in the world, Kaz Rodriguez.
What's up, my man?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, welcome to Los Angeles.
Whoa.
You just moved here.
Yes.
How do you feel? You moved here from London,
London, England. Yes, and it's surreal. It's definitely a change, but I'm excited to take in the sunshine and the new musical culture permanently now. It's great.
And you just built your new studio, like you finished yesterday?
Yes, it's been 4 days of intense labor. Shout out to Audemute for helping us for that, because it was crazy, because I'm with Thomas Lang. So Thomas gave me a room to have to use for my production and writing and just doing my videos and drumming, and I said, well, hey, as a thank you, I want to give you some Audemute like treatment, and he spent like $60,000-$70,000 worth of product that just came in front of his studio. And
so sick.
I was like, here you go, Thomas. Oh, he's gone on tour. So he's on tour for like 3 weeks. And I was like, don't worry, I'll do it. And now I regret it because my back just like cracked whilst I was doing it.
Yeah, but meanwhile, you have Thomas Lang studio is now your studio as well.
Oh yeah, we're sharing and caring. But
it's you, Thomas Lang, and Terry Bozzio.
Yeah,
Sick.
It's mad.
Just monster drum setups, like the biggest drum setups in the world.
It's great. I'm really humble and really honored. Like, Thomas has been great, and I'm just looking forward to working with him as well, and just having a creative space. Just to just see where I can be here and just share music closer to the people that really love what I do here, and just hang with you. We had an amazing hang the other week.
Great dinner. Special,
man.
Well, you gotta be welcome to LA the right way. I got to bring you to the right restaurants.
Man,
the food game.
Your food game is strong, bro. Every time we took a bite, I think we were both like, come on.
Yeah.
Really? And like, people were just looking around going, what's wrong with these people? I'm like, we just love food.
I love food. I know people are looking at us like, is this their first time eating food? Like, no, we just appreciate life. Thank you very much.
Yes, man. And that's what's so important. And I think the move for me to be here in LA is purely about the life choice. And it's the people, and just connecting with my friends and making sure that I'm closer to them, like yourself. Because Elmo, you've known me for freaking a hot minute right now.
It's been probably, what, 5 years?
5 years.
Yeah.
And we've been so sparse in connecting and talking and catching up. And whenever I'm here, it's always last minute. Oh, let's just do a jam. I'm like, okay, not much time, but let's do it. And then now it's like, I'm here. Let's just chill. Let's hang. Let's talk about life.
So we did your jam, which was one of my favorite ones ever. We did it in LA. I think was that our first time actually meeting in person?
I think it was our second time.
Because we did VF Jams live, or Zildjian, or whichever one it was.
So I did a Zildjian live.
Right.
And that's the first time I met you.
Yeah.
And then we had a conversation, I think it was the same time, the same week. And you're like, dude, let's do a jam before your Zildjian live. And I was like, oh, can I do it? So then I said, well, how are you going to do this event? Because it's very last minute. And dude, you pulled off an event. It was like a concert. I was like, oh, probably like 300 people turn up.
600.
It's 600 people.
600 people.
But it was more.
Yeah. 600 in the room. Yeah. More throughout. Yeah, because there was also the spillover room.
Yeah.
But there were 600 people in the room. I also built you the sickest band. Because that was your first time ever having your music come to life, right? Like having a band play your songs, because you just compose everything.
It was insane. Like what you pulled up in like the space of 2 days. And it was like, was it Captain Morgan? Like all these people, like
Captain Morgan.
I don't know. Is that rum thing, isn't it? Or
I thought you were saying I thought you were like Captain Morgan was there. So I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah,
you mean like the alcohol sponsors?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had booze. Of course, bro.
I'm like, wow, this guy's like pulled it off. Like,
so we did 600 people, but like curated 600 people, because the jams we curate everyone in the audience. Mm-hmm. So I remember, well, first of all, we did drummer battles because I heard your music. I got inspired. So before we met, I heard your music. I discovered you like on Instagram and everything and was just like, oh, wow, this guy's an incredible drummer. Oh, wow, he actually composes these amazing tracks that then the drummers, like these drumless tracks that all these famous drummers are covering. So I was like, oh, that song that I had heard someone do before was actually Kaz wrote that. Oh, interesting. And I was like, but you're a drummer, but meanwhile, you're also a composer and you're composing tracks for other drummers. What kind of drummer does that? So that's such a selfless thing to do. And I feel like drummers normally be like, if you're going to write your own music, because most drummers are not going to write their own music for them to shed over. If you are, you're going to be like, that's mine.
Yeah.
But you wrote it and like put it up on Spotify and put it out in the world for other people to do, which was awesome. So that was how I discovered you. And then I just, with the Jam Jam, I'm always just like, what do I want to see? What do I selfishly want to see just as a music fan, musician, drummer myself? So I was like, okay, well, I want to see your music come to life with the sickest band.
Yeah.
So we built a sick band. We had Domi on keys with Xavier Tablin from Toto and Ghost Note. And we had Freaky Rob on guitar,
Bobby
Kendrick's
Lewis.
Guitarist, Bubby Lewis on bass. We had Roland Gahate Garcia on percussion, who plays with everyone.
Roland. Yeah.
So sick band, and just put that together. And then I wanted to see drum battles, not just solo drummers. Because we were already that week. I was hosting VF Jams Live, and then the Zildjian Live was also, we were filming those in the same couple days.
Yeah.
And so I was doing those, but I wanted to, I mean, of course, the Jam Jam's like my baby though. So I was like, well, it's gotta be different and it's gotta be more epic and it's gotta be battles. So we did two of my favorite drummers, Devin Sticks Taylor and Rico Nichols. Devin from Justin Bieber, Rico from Kendrick.
Yeah, man.
Had them play what song was that?
Hero. They always tend to play, like when they did the videos, they always played to Hero to themselves. They always used to shed to it and stuff.
So sick. So we had them, then we had you battling Aaron Spears.
That's my big brother.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
And the GOAT human.
Yeah. Just in life, he's known me since day one, like before I was even anything. And he really lifted me up to be who I am in life. Like my career blossomed because of him knowing who I am as a person.
Really?
Yeah. Like rather than just the drum thing, like I just connected with him as a life friend. Like,
yeah.
And he's been my day one since. Like he's seen me blossom to who I am now, and he's just one of my biggest. He's blood to me.
That's amazing.
So shout out to Aaron. Love you, bro.
Yeah, one of my favorite humans. I have a very similar feeling with Aaron where I was such a fan of his before I met him, years before.
Yeah.
I was a kid watching him on the Modern Drummer VHS.
Yeah.
Right. And he was a kid, right? That was really young Aaron. And then, when I met him and then became friends with him and realized, wow, this guy's so humble, so loving, and obviously such a monster drummer. And and he's definitely a figurehead of the community and a great role model for sure.
Absolutely.
And then we did, we had Luke Holland versus Matt Garska.
Oh yes, the crazy, your adopted son. It's like Luke. I haven't seen Luke in a minute, man. Like
Luke's my baby bro.
I know.
He comes back on tour from tour tomorrow, actually. So we'll get together.
We have to have a get together, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it was Matt, good old Matt Garska.
Matt's incredible. And you know what was really funny?
Yeah.
Luke probably doesn't want me to say this. I had to really convince both of them to do it.
Yeah.
Because like Luke was like, because I mean, we should ask Luke this, but I'm pretty sure, because I know Luke very well, that Matt's like his favorite drummer.
Yeah.
Like Luke loves Matt Garska, and they're friends.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they were friends and they would get together a couple times, he'd always be like, he just looks up to Matt so much.
Yeah.
As he should, because Matt's incredible, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, being like, no, Luke, we want you to battle Matt. He was like, no. And I'm like, yeah, at the Jam Jam. He's like, so it's going to be like in front of everyone? Because even in the room that night that didn't play, Tony Royster Jr., Ronald Bruner Jr., Thomas Pridgeon.
Oh, yeah.
All of the,
they're all there.
The Nissan Stewart, the Daru Jones, Eric Moore, Sput.
Everybody was there.
It's the drummer hang, right?
Yeah.
So Luke's just like, come on.
I know.
And I'm like, Luke, you're gonna crush it. It's gonna be amazing. You guys are both amazing. And the Jam Jam, especially, I mean, all of them I like joking that it's like Fight Club for musicians or whatever, but it's really collaborative. It's not, let me beat you, I want to win. It's not that. It's more like, let's have this incredible conversation. Let's battle it out. Like, let's show what we got and let's make this extreme. Yeah. But it's not, I'm not trying to like prove a point or kill you or anything like that.
It's a community thing, man. Like, when the whole point of me making these songs, it's not about competing against each other. It's actually just unifying every genre of player together. Whether you play hip hop, whether you play rock, whether you play metal, whatever it is, it's about bringing everyone together and giving them the opportunity to collaborate together. And it's like, when we say like drum battle and all this, but that night was so unified. I mean, I felt like some of my best friends and some of my close friends, and we all came together. Everybody came together, even the people in the crowd, like freaking like goats that were there, like they were there to support. And that's the beautiful thing about that event.
Yeah.
And I'll still talk, people still talk about it. They're like, man, the Jammcard, like some people like met me at NAMM this year that I was just walking by, I was like, dude, the Jammcard thing, man, I was there and it was crazy, man. And I'm like, dude, I'm so grateful that you were there and it was special,
For sure.
So, hats off to you, bro. Like,
thanks, man.
I can't wait for 2.0.
We got to do a 2.0.
Maybe.
Kaz and Friends, who will play? Okay, wait. So first of all, on this show, I talk openly about like things that I'm working on that I typically don't say. Because I'm a really like, I'm the kind of person, I like doing the work behind the scenes. And then I don't talk about it until it's like, it's out. Right. Or it's same with the Jam. You don't know about anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And only the people that I want to be there know. And then no one else knows until we go live on Instagram or whatever, right? So, but on the show, I'm like, hey, if you listen to this, thanks for listening. And I'm just going to talk openly.
Yeah.
And say things that are in the future that are even ideas. Maybe we should build this, but I love getting feedback. So if we did Kaz 2.0, Kaz and Friends, Jam, what drummers do you want to see play?
Me?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was just think, I don't know. Like, there's so many. Like, for me personally, I definitely would love to get Spot on it again, because like Spot was there on the night, and Spot's really dear to my heart because, I wrote a song for Spot and wrote Stutter. But at the same time, when he arranged my song Rain, that we did at Zildjian Live, and it was just so special to collaborate with him because he's also a phenomenal like writer with Ghost Note, and he would be really special to have on that. I would love
to have Sput on. Sput was upset that he didn't play that one. I remember he came up to me that night and was like, man, how are you not going to have me do this? Yeah. I'm like, bro, you were filming all day music directing.
Yeah.
Zildjian Live and VF Jam's Live was like the day before something.
I know.
And you were like music directing like 10 songs for 10 artists like each day.
I know.
I was like, how are you even here right now? That was the only reason why we didn't invite him, because of course, but it's like a first call, right?
But he was there.
He still came.
He turned up. And the thing is, it's really important like that, I would love to have, if there was the next one, it would be Spot and, some guys that I'm doing stuff with, like, and at the same time, like Larnell would be great to have.
Larnell Lewis.
Larnell, and, I really love, what the mad thing is as well, as weird as it sounds, and this is from a guy who doesn't play drums, that I would love on there is Jacob Collier.
Oh, Jacob Collier on keys.
Well, a fellow Brit, yeah. Because he's, he's British.
Yeah.
He actually lived near. I used to live in like Richmond.
Yeah.
In London, and I think he used to live near there. I think.
Do you know Jacob?
I don't know Jacob.
I'd be happy to introduce you guys.
Yeah.
You guys should totally know each other.
Yeah, I mean, because he's. I find it fascinating how he writes, and we'll get into it of how I write, but I'd love to share ideas with him, and also just to have him there, like just to see my world,
for sure,
and how I see music as well. But he would be great. There's so many drummers, man. Like I just want some drummers that like, I definitely want like Lenny Ox.
Lenny the Ox.
Yeah, Lenny's like cool because like he's so sweet. Every time I was in London, he wanted to come by to the studio and hang, and we just missed.
He's such a sweetheart. I love Lenny.
When him,
Justin, he's out here too now.
Yeah,
Lenny moved to LA.
I've got to hit him up, but he's just he's been spacey. We've been we're all just trying to connect
for sure.
But him, Justin Brown
would be awesome.
Yeah, JD would be great.
JD Beck.
I mean, he's grown.
JD was there that night.
Yeah, JD's always.
JD played in the improv that night.
Yeah,
before the Kaz section. Yeah,
I love JD. JD's a good boy. Man.
I'm so happy for him and Domi, man.
They've done
taking
so
off right now.
Yeah, with Anderson's label, and I'm so proud of them both because they've really been unified like together throughout their journey, and it's like I don't know. I see them from a distance and I'm seeing them how they've grown, and it's just like you feel like a proud, you're like a proud papa, even
Super proud.
But I'm not like I just love their journey, and I think everyone else does as well. So those guys. Fantastic, and it was great to have Domi on that night doing the house band. There's so many people, man. Like I've got so many favorites right now.
Yeah,
but we can figure that out at some point.
We should have Taylor in the band.
Yeah,
Taylor Graves. You're in the studio right now making the next Kaz jams.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like Taylor and I really clicked well because we had our first writing session. Like when I first moved here in March, and it was just like press record and just record whatever. And we had like great people. We had Joel Whitley on who plays bass, but his name's Silk Tone or something like that on Instagram. But the guy's originally a guitarist, and then he was playing bass. Like he was like killing on bass. Like this guy's he's won so many Grammys on records and stuff. And him, and then randomly what's his name? It's just give me a mental block. Tony Austin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Tony is another killer and obviously a legend in the game.
For sure.
And he just turned up, and then we just wrote stuff with him, and it was just so many people. Then we've written an array of songs. So I'm finishing my record with Taylor. So that would be great to have Taylor there because I really love the architecture of how he writes, and his way of writing is so special. And just to play that live for what I do is completely different. So we've kind of unified something, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It's going to be cool.
I'm really excited to hear it, man. Thanks. You actually showed me a couple little snippets. Oh, yeah. Sounds fire already. Oh,
thanks, bro. Yeah. Stay tuned.
So what made you as a drummer decide to make drumless track music?
Well, that's a crazy moment for me. It was just based on how I started in university, university.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, university, innit? Yeah. So in it, mate. Do you know what I mean? So I started as it was an assessment. I had a coursework. And I had to an assignment, which I had to make a drum track or a music track. So I wrote 7 to the power of 6. I just wanted to play it and then just have some sort of reference to play odd time signatures together. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I was broke, like every student in college or university. And all I had was $100, or £100 left in my bank account. And I was like, dude, I need to do something. I need something to happen. And all I wanted to do was share this music to people. So I wrote more songs, and I wanted people to play songs. I watched Dave Weckl play to these sick tracks, and Aaron playing all these tracks, and Chris Coleman playing to tracks, and Simon Phillips playing the Protocol songs. And I was like, dude, I want to play these backing tracks. And Dennis Chambers playing the Pick Hits album. And I used to buy that DVD with the basic one and then the advanced one. I was like, loud jazz and all that stuff. I was like, man, I want to play to this stuff, but I want people to have access to that because, I remember sending an email or some sort of message to Dave Weckl and I never got a response because I was like, oh, how can I get that backing track?
He's like, get out of here, kid.
Yeah, get out of kid. Don't talk to me. But no, I'm sure it was just, I was just like a speck.
Yeah.
So I ended up just deciding to write this in college and do my thing and send it like to the masses. And I had looked up that you can upload your music to distribution. So I found a thing called CD Baby.
Yep.
So I used the remaining £70 that I had in my account. And I just was like, oh, I hope something happens from this, because I was eating like pasta and like tomato sauce. Like for
so and when you wrote like 7 to the power of 6, you were writing them as your tracks for you to drum to.
Yeah.
Or they were tracks that you had already drummed to, and you were like, okay, let me just take out the drums and upload that version and distribute that version.
Yeah. It was just crazy.
As an experiment, it was just like, let's see, this could be cool.
Yeah, because online, I couldn't find backing tracks like on iTunes and stuff like that, because at the time, that's when iTunes really birthed with like digital, sales and stuff. So for albums, I couldn't find anything. There was one thing I found, which was like a gospel kind of thing, and it was just very MIDI, and I just wanted to have a different genre. So I just morphed my favorite styles and just put it in, like birthed this like multi-genre monster. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, like people like Tony Royster, just like people messaged me going, dude, Tony Royster's playing it on his, Sabian performance. And I was like, what is he playing? He's playing Guide Me. And I was like, man, I don't even know Tony, but he's playing it. And
that's so cool.
Yeah. And then other people started getting hip to it. So then when I met Aaron, I sent him 7 to the power 6. And then he played the London Drum Show and closed the show with my song. And then everyone started freaking out. It was like, this is a weird genre of music, but it works. So now then that stemmed, and then I did a drum festival and met, this was in my university time. Like I started really getting into the drum thing, and then met Chris Coleman, and I was like, hey, Chris. And he goes, I know who you are. Kaz. And I'm like, what? And he's like, man, I really love your music. It's different. And I want to tell you something. If you keep doing this, it's going to go far. Like if you keep doing this. And he said, make me a track. And I said, I will make you a track.
Yeah.
So I went in my room, in my bedroom, and I had a 25 key keyboard, and I wrote Go.
Wow.
So that song Go?
Oh, yeah.
So I wrote that for him, his first song that he had to play, and did that Meinl video. And like now it's like almost 4 million views on YouTube. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, and he's like, I told you. Like, you got to keep doing this. And then I wrote another one for him, and that went viral, and then another one. And then he started playing my album music that I released. And then that's how I met Annika. And then from Annika, I wrote more for Aaron Spears, and then met Spot in Bag Show in Paris. And he said, write me a song. But he heard my song Stutter with me playing it first. And then he's like, can you write it for me? So I said, all right, it's yours. So it just kind of stemmed like through more drummers, Alex Rudinger, who plays like heavy metal. I'm like, this is crazy. And then
blast beats.
And then Matt Gasker as well. Like in his Berkeley days, he was playing to my stuff.
Wow.
And on Facebook, while I was making tracks, and I had this song called Mesmerize. And then Matt always like said, man, you should release this stuff. Like this is before us like being us. And it was just such a sign for me to go, well, you know what? I'm going to release it. So, and that's how we brought all these drummers together. And there's been an array of people. Like, then that's how Devin played Hero, and then Rico played Hero, and then it just stems more people. And then Teddy Campbell just hit me up, and then I wrote something for him. Then Calvin Rogers, I wrote something for Calvin Rogers, and then it just keeps going. And I think the beautiful thing is that all these genres of players are universally playing this one style of whatever it is, and it's just so special, and it makes me feel complete, because I'm like, that was my goal, to bring all genre of musicians together to play this foundation of music where you can paint your own picture.
What I love about is the painting of your own picture, because I love that, because for example the song that I did, so I played that night too with me and Thaddeus Dixon, which was awesome. And then when I was doing that was my first time actually drumming to one of your tracks. And so I went on YouTube and was like, oh, let me see what other drummers have done. And you hear so many different interpretations on the same song, and it's crazy what a drum beat can do to completely flip a song, whether you're playing in halftime, double time, swinging it straight, whatever, chopping here, not chopping here.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, it's like it changes the whole attitude and vibe of the song. So that's such a cool thing to.
You played Headline.
Headline, yes. Yeah. Of course I just chose that because the song title.
Not the music, just the title.
I was like looking through his track names, like Headline, that's mine.
I choose you.
Yeah.
Go.
Even though I think I put Thaddeus and I first that night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm not playing after everybody. It's like me and Thaddeus first, and then I think it was Devin and Rico. Yeah. And then Matt and Luke.
And then
you and Aaron.
Yeah. It was just a special night, bro. And like I said, it was fascinating to see such a massive crowd. And then the following day, me and Aaron had to do Zildjian Live. And we were beat.
All the drinking that night too.
Yeah.
All the I think the thing with the Jam Jam is like the next day I'm so depleted because your serotonin's just gone. And I don't even like do drugs or anything, but it's just like the happiness meter.
Yeah.
Is pegged.
It's crazy
for 6 hours, and then the next day you're like, oh
man, it was just surreal. I just loved every moment. You like crushed that night, and I can't wait for, now that I'm here, I just can't wait to see what else we can do.
You named a bunch of drummers right now that we should get on the Kaz 2.0 Jam Jam.
Yes,
you pretty much just said like most of it.
Oh yeah, definitely want to get Chris, like my boy Chris. I miss Chris Coleman.
Chris Coleman would be amazing. I don't know who's going to want to play with him though.
I'll play with him.
It is.
We've played. Me and Chris.
Kaz and Chris.
Me and Chris have so much fun. We were in China. We did a tour together, and we just have so much humor when we play. Like, he's like my bro. Like again, the tracks. I'm so grateful that he can trust me on the songs that I write for him. I wrote like 4 songs for that guy, and playing with him is just humorous. Like when we have fun. We have fun. Of course, he's a monster. But when we've played together, like just like Aaron, like we don't bring egos. We just share and have fun.
Yeah,
and that's the most important thing. It's not about look at me, I'm gonna crush you. Like it's not about that. Let's just have fun.
Yep,
that's what it's about. If you start thinking about competition and who's got the best this and who's that, it's like that's not what we're about. And I know that that's not. Like Jammcard is all about togetherness.
Exactly.
So let's do this together.
Yeah.
And let's have fun together, not compete, So,
totally.
Yeah, man.
So you have synesthesia.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about because someone who doesn't have it and researching it, it seems like, wow, that'd be amazing to have, but I'm sure there's also a downside to it. Mm-hmm. First of all, will you tell everyone like what that is in case they don't know, and then what it's like for you?
It's crazy. So like the whole story behind it is this, like synesthesia is kind of a rare phenomenon that it's a rare condition. Doesn't sound like good me saying condition, but it's a rare condition. Basically it's a form of, I see color in the way that I write music. So I'm self-taught. As a drummer, as a keyboard player, as a composer, and I don't know what notes I play on the piano. And whenever I'm recording or anything like that, I'm very much using color as my source of inspiration.
Because when you hear sounds, you see color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have I play a crash cymbal, and I'll hear like 3 or 4 chords in that, and I'll go on the piano and I'll be like, that sounds like this. Is blue, here's orange, here's green. And that's how I like wrote Rain and like all my songs is all based on what I hear. But the story behind that is purely based on when I was in a coma. Yeah, newsflash. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this.
So the synesthesia, I had it lightly when I was a kid. And I always used to be picked on when people were, oh, you're weird, dude. Like you're calling things blue and orange and turquoise and purple and stuff. And people thought I was like high or something. Like I don't do drugs. So, but like I was just like, no, this sounds like blue and orange. And I never really understood it. But then when I was like 20, in my 20s, I ended up doing a session and in a part of London that I wasn't really safe, right? And then I got stabbed with a knife, and it was bad. Like I had the knife stuck in me here, right in my stomach here, and I lost a lot of blood. And I remember passing out, and then I woke up 3 months, 3 hours and 47 minutes later. Yeah.
Wow.
And I was out of my coma, and I woke up to music, and I woke up to Debussy. My mother realized that I always reacted to music when I was a kid, and I ended up waking up to Debussy because I was fascinated by classical music. That's why there's a lot of that influence in my music, with the movements. And I woke up, and she was like, "What? Like, it's crazy." And as I woke up, I could see color, like visually, I could see color. I could never see it before. I could just like describe the colors of something when I was pre-stabbed.
Right.
And it just excelled, and it was just a phenomenal experience. And I couldn't walk, so I couldn't play drums. So it took me a while for my muscles and my body to like retrain to move again. And I just spent time on a piano, and I'd hear things like I heard birds singing, or I hear like the wind, and I just play music. Like, it wasn't drum track related. It was just music, and I could realize I could compose about my environment. So I used to like show my friends, like, this is a song about the birds singing, and I was like, oh, here you go. And then I ended up writing a song about bird singing, which was Lotus, like on my 4th album, Synesthesia. And I was like, well, this is a real, like, you know, obviously they all started to evolve. My music started to evolve even more. And this was pre like 7 to the power 6. Like, I just could realize I could write stuff, and I just learned to harness it. And synesthesia is it's like a blessing and a curse for me, because I can't switch it off.
Right.
So like, I can see color right now, I can hear color right now, and then I'll put it on a piano. But the only way to switch it off for me is white noise. So if you want to hear, I'm just like switched off.
Yeah.
But to anybody else, it's like, oh, dude, that's the most annoying sound. For me, it's like, oh.
I like white noise. I sleep to it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on sleep apps.
Yeah.
You know, and it helps me switch it off, but at the same time, it's a blessing. And if I hadn't had that, I'd probably still be working on what I'm doing, but I'm just grateful to be able to utilize that I've had a second chance in life.
Yeah.
And to be able to create and actually to give to the world of music, like just to help share my music experience and my emotions that I put in my music to every drummer that wants to play to music. You know,
how many years ago was that when you got stabbed?
I was like 20, turning 21.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That is so. And what was the date?
The date? It was 2008. No, 2009.
Do you remember the date though?
The date?
Yeah.
When was that? It was like probably like when, I can't remember the date. I think it was like something in like June or something like that. Right. June. I remember it was a Friday. That's what I remember. And then 3 months, 3 hours and 47 minutes later, I just woke up. I was like, right, let's get a burger.
Yeah.
Anyone got a shawarma?
Shawarma?
Like,
yeah. Any lamb neck?
Any lamb neck and some naan bread?
Well, and then you're like, whoa, what are these? What am I seeing here?
Dude, I just, yeah, it's crazy. But it was an experience that I got to really cherish life.
So I know that how I heard of synesthesia originally was that because Quincy Jones has it.
Yeah.
And Quincy's one of my advisors and one of our investors in Jammcard.
Another bucket list to meet him. Love you, Quincy.
Got to make that happen. Quincy is the legend.
Yes, sir.
The goat of the goats.
The goat of all goats.
And I know if you Google it and you research it, there's a lot of really famous composers that had synesthesia. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Quincy's one of the greatest arrangers of all time. So there's definitely something really special in there in your music that obviously that's I don't want to say that's it, because it's also you and your soul and everything else that comes, but like what that plays to, must make you so uniquely you, because, you know, I know when you hear composers talk about like, oh, when they score a film, they say like, oh yeah, well this scene is blue, I need to figure that. But like you actually, it's not about researching like the color of sound. You actually have it vividly in front of you. So yeah, that must be incredible. Like I I don't know. I want to dive into that more. I want to what could we do to make someone have that experience that doesn't have synesthesia? Like how is there a way to make that come to life for somebody else?
Don't get stabbed. Just don't sound joking. No, I think no, I think the reality of what I've researched on myself is that we're all born with it.
Yeah.
As babies, you know, when you're a baby, you know, when you see a newborn child looking at those little toys that float around, you know, they don't have full vision yet when they're born, right? But they react to seeing these colors above and they go, like, you know. Yeah. But the older we get, it kind of like disjoints you. So you don't react to it as much because it gets kind of like your brain develops and all this, and then that side goes away. So when you see a kid get like jacked up about a red Lego,
yeah,
he's like, this is a red Lego. Oh, if you see how red this is, look at this Jammcard logo. It's like, it's yellow, man. It's black and yellow. Oh, wow. And it's like, but they trip out over colors because their brain is reacting to this color, and it makes them feel a certain way. But for me, it's like it's always been there, and I think for a person to kind of have a similar situation is just to see music in different perspectives. And I feel like everyone has it. Some people have it strong, some people don't. Like when I see someone like Jacob Collier, it's like insane.
Yeah.
Like how he just analyzes music and sees music in a perspective, and how he can, like when I see him do the crowd thing, I've never seen him live, but like,
you have to see him live. Yeah, how he manipulates and controls the crowd.
Oh yeah, it's
another level. Yeah,
it's on another level. But like, yeah, that thing that he does is just that grouping thing, and it's just like, you know, he's got it down to a T.
Yeah.
But it's also like the way he hears notes move with other notes, and you know, try to make the unconventional thing sound like acceptable. And that's what I found. Like when I write music, I always try to be forgiving in taking risk.
Yeah.
Like if someone, like I get keyboard players going, what chord did you play? Like that sounds insane. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I don't know. I just saw that it worked.
Yeah. Someone just, you know, like my guy, Mark Stevens, like another legend, like he plays with Shaka Khan and Josh Groban, but he's like, you know, he's like GOAT. He used to play with like George Duke and, you know, all these guys. And he always used to go like, Kaz, that sounds that F sus7 thing. Like, and I'm like, what? what is that? You know, and that's the thing. Like, I wish I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like the Jacob territory. But I just kind of go, oh, that's like sky blue.
Yeah.
That color. And that's the chord. Like, you give me sky blue, I'll play that for you. And if you give me green, like grass green, like, you know, don't know. Like,
have you ever spoken with someone that has synesthesia?
Yeah.
And is it similar, like when you talk about it, or is it completely different to your own?
Completely different.
Wow. Yeah, because what is color anyways, right? Yeah. We all interpret colors differently anyways.
Yeah, there's different people that have different things. Like some people like have emotions attached to color. Like when they see a painting, they like start reacting emotionally. Or like I've met someone that has smell. Like when they're happy, they smell citrus, like they smell lemon. When they're sad, they smell earth. You know, when they're in love or getting down with it, you know, they smell like strawberries and stuff. And I'm like, do you actually smell these things? And they're like, yeah, but it's the synesthesia. So
because the synesthesia is senses that are essentially mixed, right?
Yeah,
like
mixed.
You're experiencing a sense, and that's different than the sense that you should be experiencing.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's a fantastic thing to see in different perspectives. Like right now I'm on a Netflix thing that they're filming with me.
Amazing.
Can't say too much about it, but it will be based on how I do my everyday life. But they have other people that there's a guy who counts numbers like that. And it's a 10-year-old kid. And he's got synesthesia.
Wow.
And he's in India. Like, there's so many phenomenons out there who have a case of synesthesia in different perspectives. An artist, has synesthesia who does like random drawings of things, and a person who's never touched an instrument can learn an instrument like that because their synesthesia is pathing them movements and it's understanding formulas. I mean,
so like to try to paint a picture of it visually.
Yeah.
So when you like hit a crash cymbal, do you see color coming off of it the way like a sound wave would come off of it?
Yeah. So like the way I see it now, like every time you talk, it sounds like it looks like a sound wave, but in a color. So right now you've been talking to me.
Yeah.
I've seen greens, oranges, blues, purples, violets. And sometimes I see some gold. I
have the full spectrum apparently.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of colors because we're talking in different dynamics.
It's all different tonally, like, and just the pitch of us talking.
Yeah, so I see it like a sound wave.
Yeah,
so it's like a sound cloud in real life.
Whoa.
It's like it's mad. Yeah, so
that is so crazy, dude. And okay, yeah, so that's why you can match like, okay, the color of this crash cymbal matches these chords or on piano or this chord on piano.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, that's how I wrote Rain.
Wow.
So I wrote Rain on the flight going to LA because Spot was like, do you have a song that you want to play? And I was like, yeah, all right, let me write something.
Yeah.
I said yes, but it wasn't. But
right.
I was just finishing a tour in Poland with Josh Groban. And then I was on a plane, and then I just like kind of wrote something quickly.
Yep.
And it was like, it was like a 5 thing, and I heard rain. So when I heard the rain on the window on the flight, I just went, and I just put that on a 25 key keyboard, sent it over to Spot, and Spot just started rehearsing it, and I was like, there you go. And I never got to play it because I actually hadn't played that song. So the first time I ever played it was the rehearsal, which I only had one rehearsal for that Zildjian Live thing, and then the next time was like just do 2 takes, and there you go. And it's purely the color. And the best thing about it is that because I wrote the song, I knew where to put it, because like I know what I'm doing with the drums, but the colors actually guided me to play what I needed to play on the drums. So it was fun. Like I didn't have to over rehearse it, and it's mad.
Yeah, so it can help you even remember music, huh?
Yeah, that's what I do with Josh. Everyone else reads on that gig. I can't read.
Wow.
So I just learn and memorize all the pieces. Now I'm learning to read, and it makes more sense. But when I first started with Josh in 2018, when you came to one of my shows,
Josh Groban, by the way.
Yeah, it was, and I just used to color. I used to put colors on my iPad to the chart and stuff, and people were like, what's he got green and orange and blue?
That's crazy.
And it was like people were just going, what what's this freak doing? And I'm like, this is how I remember music. And I just memorized it. Like the whole band read charts. It was like pages and pages. Before we went on iPads, everyone was on paper. So I ended up just memorizing everything, and I learned like 60, 70 tunes, and I just like remembered them. And it's just like, it's because I have that color codes thing in my head that tells me how to learn music. So yeah.
And the Groban songs are like, I mean, a lot of them are orchestral pieces, right? Yeah. So it's not a 4/4 pop song that you're just that is just the same. And then the chorus, you open up the hats a little more.
Yeah.
It's not.
There you go. Well, it's kind of crazy because Josh's stuff is a mix match. It's a lot of like, sometimes there's odd time signatures like Alla Luce.
Right.
And then sometimes it's like River and Steve Jordan produced that tune. So I've got to play like Steve Jordan and you heard that and sometimes like, you know, Josh made me write a song like for the set, which you heard.
Yeah.
Marrakesh.
Which was awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
You could tell it was kind of my production.
I'm like, oh, there's the Kaz moment. Yeah.
But, you know, it's great, like playing, and he was like, you know, whatever. So I wrote a song in 15. So I'm like, why not? If we get to do this in stadium.
Because Josh is like brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Musically, he's incredible. He's insanely proficient, genius. Yeah.
Absolutely a genius. And it's great. Like I said, we get to have fun. And the whole idea is just to play all different styles, but I can memorize those things by using color schemes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was so happy too because Josh Groban, that's in my mom's top 3.
Oh, yeah.
Mom loves Josh Groban. So all of a sudden, Kaz gets the Josh Groban gig. I'm like, Mom, you want to go see Josh Groban play?
Oh, yeah.
I'll bring us backstage.
She's so sweet, man, when she was there. She was so happy. She's like, like
she loves Josh Groban. And you know, it's so funny is, so thank you for introducing her to Josh Groban, by the way. Still an amazing
pleasure.
And that was her second time meeting Josh Groban. And that was her makeup time because the first time she blew it.
Oh, really?
She blew it. It was at, so Christina Perri. So I was music directing and drumming with Christina for years.
Yeah.
And we're still best friends to this day, but I stopped playing with her when I went to start Jammcard because I was like, okay, I can't tour anymore. I need to just focus on starting this company.
Yeah.
So I stopped touring, and then Wayne Miller became her MD. Great guy, great MD. And then so then they were back in town on tour, and they were playing the Wheel Turn. So I brought my mom, and we were standing in front of house, and I turned around behind me, and I saw Josh Groban, like 5 feet away in the front of house area at the Wheel Turn, you know, and because he was friends with Christina, I think they have the same publicist and so whatever thing it is. So I walk up to, so he's behind me though. So my mom's just watching the show. So she doesn't notice that. I'm just like, okay. I like leave her and I go say what up to Josh.
Yeah.
Super cool guy. He's awesome. He's the homie. And I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry to ask you this because I know that is the question you always get, but my mom's a huge fan. Could I introduce you to her right now? Could you just say hi? And he was like, yeah, dude, of course. No problem. I was like, okay, great. But she didn't know that. And I surprised her. So all of a sudden I walk up with Josh Groban from behind her, and I tap my mom on the shoulder. I'm like, hey mom, I want to introduce you to someone. This is Josh. And he goes, hello, Patty. Like, you have a great son or whatever. And she goes, Josh. And she's like holding his hand. He's like, hi, Patty. Josh. He's like, yes, you must be so proud. You know, Josh. And I was like, Mom, stop. What are you doing? Like, and I never even seen her. I shouldn't have surprised her. Yeah. It really threw her off. And then she was just looking at him like, oh, like Jesus or something. I was like, and then I felt so embarrassed and so bad. I was like, dude, I am so sorry. Like, and he was like, it's okay. I think it like obviously happens to him a lot, probably with the mom demographic, which is funny because he's such a cool guy. He's such a cool guy. And so anyways, she blew it. That was it. She just kept saying Josh over and over for a solid minute and never stopped. Just Josh. So anyway, so I apologized to him. And then later on that night, we were backstage, and you know he was cool, and he was like, it's good, it's fine. I'm like, she freaked out, dude. I'm sorry, I've never seen her freak out like that. Oh. The only other time was when I was on tour with Jason Mraz, and I introduced her to Jason backstage, and Jason was like, you know, stoned. And Jason also super chill, mellow guy, rad guy, and I'm like, oh mom, this is Jason. Wow. What are you doing, mom? Like, she's been around so many of my friends for so long, but it's like, I normally am not with artists that she cares about. Normally, you know, like the Grobans and the Mraz and the whatever. So so that freaked her out. But anyways, so then when I brought her back to your show we're at the Forum backstage, I'm like, Mom, this can't happen again. Like this, you have to make up for it.
Redemption.
Yeah, you have to make up for it because if not, I'm never doing this again. This is I'm never doing this again. And then, but at least, so it didn't surprise her. Yeah. And then you guys walked up after the show. We had just watched the whole show, which was amazing. And she was like, you know, hi, Josh. And she was super cool. And he was like, hello. He kissed her hand and everything. And he was such a sweetheart. And she totally held it together. And then he walked away. And I looked at her, I was like, You did it.
Yeah.
And she was like, I did. She was so proud of herself.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It was so sweet. I'm so glad that you came to that as well, because it was like, especially it was a shock for a lot of people, because they were like, Kaz doing Josh Groban?
Not what you would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you heard me and then you were like, yeah. You know.
Yeah, you murdered it.
It's just groove.
I mean, you played very appropriately when it was supposed to just be like not your moment, and you're just like accompanying the song. And then you also had your moments, which you would not expect at a Groban show either. I'm like, which shows because Josh is a drummer, right?
Yeah, he's a great drummer too.
So Groban's a great drummer, so he really appreciates and lets you have those moments, because he would only do that if he thought that's awesome.
Yeah,
I want that in my show. That's awesome.
Yeah, Josh always has drum features, and he's
because there's a sick list of drummers that have played with Josh in front of you, right?
Oh yeah, there's been there's an array. Dave DeCenzo was before me.
One of the best.
Yeah, one of the best. We had who else? Craig McIntyre, who plays for the Goo Goo
Dolls, yeah.
And then we had who else? Gary Novak. It's like
one of the goats.
One of the goats. It's like, and I'm sitting there just like, now I've been carried on with the baton.
Was this no hair Gary or long hair Gary?
No hair Gary.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, the array of people that do, and you know, I had during the pandemic, we've had, subs. I had a sub for during the pandemic, and I could not believe it. But it was like J.R. Robinson.
Wow.
Was subbing for me, and I was like, what?
Wow.
It's like crazy.
Number one most recorded drummer of all time.
I know. And I was like, this is crazy. And it was just kind of, then I was like, paranoid. I was like, maybe he's going to take my gig. Josh was like, no, we miss you. We miss you.
Yeah,
we freaking miss you, bro.
Ain't nobody Kaz, bro. You're the only Kaz.
But it's great. Like just the great drummers that have been involved, just seeing, like, I remember them telling me, like Steve Jordan's played with Josh, like Steve produced like his bridges, like some of the bridges stuff. Like there was a song called River, and I got to meet Steve, and I get to like me and Steve played together on Radio City, and I was just like, this is crazy. And the funny story behind that was like he didn't learn his music. He didn't learn his music. Like he was like, well, it's not that he didn't learn it. He was just like, I asked him. I said, how do you want to do it? And he goes, I don't want to play to click. So I'm going to follow you, Kaz. And I'm like, I want to follow you.
Yeah.
Like, Steve, like you're the foundation. You're like the OG. Like, and it was just great. We had fun and we played that night, and it was great. Like two drummers playing a freaking ballad together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, how do we do this? It was just fun, man. And we had a great time. So Steve was another cat. Vinny's played with Josh.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like he's on record. He's on the records.
Yeah,
like
you're playing Vinny Colaiuta drum parts. Like,
I was just like, wow, I don't know.
Better be silky smooth.
I hope so.
Yeah.
No one's as silky as that guy, man.
And then in this show, so you just finished a tour right now, right? You just got back, and so on that tour, there was like a shed moment between you and Groban.
Yeah, we were shedding every show. It was so sick.
And did you tell me he was doing double kick?
Yeah.
Like, I love that.
It was crazy.
Josh Groban ripping double kick drum is amazing.
Dude, like he started with just like, he had it there the whole time, but he never played it. As he got comfortable like halfway through the show, I just remember going like, dude, like, we all have like 8 bars each. And then he started going, da, 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 and I was like, whoa. And I used to like shout. I was like, how? That is nuts. Like his double bass pedal stuff's better than mine. That's why I just stick with the
dude.
He rips, man. He can play. Like people go, it's like a nag, like a niche thing. But no, it's actually a thing. Like Josh is a fantastic drummer. He plays in 7. He's a
real drummer.
He's a real drummer.
Yeah.
And that's how he found me. Like that's how I got the gig, like online. Like he saw me on Drumeo because he knew that I was like a composer as well. And then he like suggested me to like the music director, Tariq Okoni. Shout out to Tariq Okoni. And he called me saying, I'm going to put you through. And Josh also at the same time said, do you know this guy? I want him in my band. He's like he's like, this guy's amazing because he's a singer, he's a songwriter and like a drummer, and he plays all these crazy things. And like Tariq was like, that's the guy that I recommended you. And then it's just like put 2 and 2 together, and then they put me on the band. And I was like, that's crazy, because he's like a drum fan.
Yeah,
he loves drummers.
He's watching Drumeo.
He's watching Drumeo.
That's a real drummer.
Yeah, and he loves so many drummers, and we geek out about drummers. He knows his drums. Like, he's like, you know, oh, I love Zildjian K's, man, like, and all that. So I gifted him on the start of the tour. I gifted him some K's. He's like, these are the K Dark Thins. And I'm like, he knows his shit.
Wow.
It's like, whoa, this is bad. Like, he knows his stuff, man. And he's just like, yeah, just, you know, Yamaha Remo heads, like Ambassador. He goes, yeah, sometimes I like to use the Yamaha doubles, but maybe the DWs might be good, like the 9000. I'm like, he knows his stuff.
He knows his pedals.
He knows his pedals, dude.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. And you guys are like homies now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna do some cool stuff. Like, we're gonna like hopefully like write some a song together for like his new stuff. And it's just like, we're just in the talks of it, but like, we're just gonna hang. Like, he's here and he's in New York, and he's like tight, man. He's like, the most important thing for me is to know that like the artist that I work for, like especially, is just like a friend.
Yeah.
Like, it's not someone like, oh yeah, that's my boss. Not only is he my boss, he's also my dear friend.
Well, that makes the tour amazing.
Yeah. The chemistry we have with the band, it's like insane.
I love that.
It's insane. And we're all built on humor. What you see with Josh on stage is what you see in real life.
Amazing.
And that's just the best.
Yo, Groban at the Kaz 2.0 Jam. What if he actually drummed at it?
I'll bring him.
To show the drum world, like the actual music world, like don't even have him sing, just have him drum.
Hey, man.
That is tight.
I'll bring him. I'll give him a shout.
I love that.
Let's get it.
I love that, dude. That would be amazing.
Yeah, man.
I'm so happy for you, dude. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
So much is going to happen for you.
Thank you.
Being here, because now you're like in it.
Yeah.
In it. And
in
now
it. I'm in it, mate.
now you're here. I mean, you already look, you got here, and then immediately Thomas Lang like gives you a studio.
Yeah.
That's incredible, dude.
I'm so grateful.
And but also you've returned the favor by being like, here, let me make the studio even better. Right.
Well,
and like, and what you're contributing.
Yeah.
Right?
And we're going to do more things together. We're going to start writing. He writes a lot of commercial stuff and trailer stuff. Like, this is a side that they don't see of Thomas. And I do that as well. Like, I'm not just a drum track guy. Like, 60% of my work is commercial film and video game music that I write for. So it's like, I can do that with Thomas as well, and we can just share our business together, and it's just a perfect synergy because, he turns down a lot of stuff, I turn down a lot of stuff. I said, let's not turn it down and let's make a business out of it. And it's great, and we're just drummers that get to hang and geek out, and just we made a redecoration of the place just to give some more life. And he does a lot of stuff for Drum Channel, and he streams, and he's so busy that I want to be able to give back as well. And that's the beauty of what I like doing. I like to help everybody, like, so we're all together, we're people in the end of the day, and that's a great thing, that the opportunity I have to have that studio, and just bring everyone in. You got to come over.
I'm coming. Well, no, I didn't realize when you and I had dinner last week and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to build out the studio. I didn't think that when I saw you next week, you'd be like, done.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, bro.
Finished.
That's not very LA of you. An LA drummer would say like, I'm building out my studio. And then 6 months later, he'd be like, no, I'm almost done.
No, done.
No. You're coming over with the,
I'm bringing that British
energy. Just like,
let's go.
Finished.
I'll
come next week, man.
Let's go.
I want to come see it, but I need to practice my drums before I come over.
Oh, come on,
because I want to play on Bozio's kit.
You don't even, as a person who has practiced for many years of his life, going on that drum set, I guarantee you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
It's just because there's so much.
Yeah.
You have to play differently. It's
Yeah.
like, it's musical, but I see the system behind it, and it's amazing to see when you see Bozio play it. Like,
Yeah.
I've actually never met Bozio in real life.
Oh, wow.
But when he does come, I'm gonna be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, cause he's in Japan,
Yeah.
he's like, But
I met him once. He was really nice.
Yeah, I know he's a sweet guy. Thomas said as well. And like just like Thomas. Thomas is super sweet. Like, I'll go on his drum set whenever I'm at the studio and I'm just playing. And goes,
but Thomas and Terry are like, I don't know. I don't know either of them very well. I've met both of them. So just off my first impressions, Terry's more of like soft spoken. Like, okay, hey man. Okay, yeah, cool. Right. And then Thomas Lang's like superstar.
Yeah.
Superstar Thomas Lang.
Thomas is a legend, man.
Yeah, he is.
And the thing is, like, he's an Italian.
He's got the energy. He's got star energy.
Yeah, his energy, his business game is everything that he's built for himself. He used to be in London. He used to live in London for like 15 years or something like that. And it's just like he has such a good business acumen, a creative, like his imagination is just, and the reflection of that is how he plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on his drum set and I'm sitting there going, how can you play this stuff? Like, I'm sitting at the same height. The way he plays, the sticks are like giant logs, but the guy's a monster.
Yeah.
When people try to say like how he plays, it's like, I'm like, this guy is an artist of creativity and imagination.
It's perfect.
It's perfect the way he plays, and that's why he's good at what he does.
It sounds perfect. The hits are perfect. Everything, the execution, it sounds like intentionally quantized. Like
It's exciting to see that when he comes back and I'm like, we have a window that actually gets us to see each other. So his production studio is like right opposite.
Is it fully soundproofed?
It's soundproofed in his room and my room. You hear a little bit of bleed, but it's like no drummer's going to be playing at the same time. But the thing is, my room is also controlled, connected to his.
Okay.
But I also have control over. I will sometimes go to his room to record, or we'll use the control room for when I do production and stuff. So it's like kind of whatever.
Right.
But it's a massive room.
Thomas on Kaz 2.0.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
The Kaz 2.0 Jam Jam's going to be lit.
Thomas would love to do.
We've already put the lineup together on the show.
I think there it is.
Yeah.
Let's go.
We got to get a legend, a Weckl or a Steve Smith or a. We got to get one of like the.
I'd love to get Weckl
or a Vinny.
Dude, if we could get Vinny,
I made friends with Vinny.
I will cry.
Vinny's a sweet guy, man.
Well, Vinny knows Mark Stevens. Like Mark Stevens' record, Vinny's on it.
Vinny and I like text and talk on the phone. Like he's like we made friends just a few years ago, and that was another moment for me. Was like you with Aaron Spears, even though I had that with Aaron too originally. But when I had it with Vinny, I was like calling him and being like, "Hey man, what's up, Elmo?" And then I'll never forget one time I was on the phone with him. Oh, I called him once. Once again, I talk about everything on the show. Yeah, I called him once to ask him if he wants to do a sample pack with Jammcard samples for Splice. He's like, "I don't know, man. What is a sample pack?"
He is the walking sample, bro.
And then I told him what it was, and he was like, "Okay, all right." And he was like thinking about it, and I could tell he was like being cool. And then I was getting into an Uber, and I was like, I was in New York. I was leaving my hotel. I remember this like perfectly. And I was like, "Oh, hey, Vinny, hold on 1 minute. I'm like getting into my Uber. Let me just say what's up to the Uber driver and whatever." And he's like, "No problem, dude." And I put it on mute.
Yeah.
But I could still hear him. And that was when I realized as soon as I put him on mute, he was just like, and he was like practicing on his practice pad. That's crazy. And I just got this visual. We weren't FaceTiming, but I just had this visual of like, whoa, Vinny is still practicing all the time to the point where he's talking to someone on the phone and he's just got his sticks in his hand and he's just on his pad. One thing that hit me and stayed with me forever that I'll never forget. So my cousin Joe Lovano, he's a jazz legend, right? Yeah. Saxophonist. He's incredible. I look up to him so much. He's like my biggest influence. Yeah. And he's older than me. He's my mom's cousin, right? So he's my mom's age. He's in his 60s. So I've known him since I was a baby or whatever. Yeah. And he's actually a sick drummer too. Oh, dope. Yeah, he's a sick drummer. So when my dad was giving me like Van Halen, cousin Joe was like, "Bitches brew," like he was like, yeah. But anyway, so I'll never forget. So I went and saw him play at the Hollywood Bowl. He was headlining the Hollywood Bowls. Him and Wynton Marsalis, and they had the LA Philharmonic behind them. Yeah. And I brought Sergio Flores, one of my best friends, with me, who is sexy sax man. Right. So I brought him with me because he was like, "Man, I love your cousin Joe, man. He's like my hero, bro." Like, so I was like, "All right, come with me to go, and I'll introduce you to him." So I brought Sergio to the bowl, and so Joe played. It was incredible. And then afterwards we go backstage. We're hanging with Joe. I introduce him to Sergio. Sergio says to him, and Sergio's 25 or something at the time. And Joe's like 60, let's say. Cause this is like 10 years ago. And he said to Joe, and he was like, Joe, man, like, you're my hero. Like, I love you so much. And I'm practicing. I'm practicing, man. I'm gonna be as good as you one day. Like, I'm gonna do it. You know, like, just say it in not in a threatening, in a very nice way, and in an endearing, like, you inspire me. I'm gonna be as good as you one day. That's my goal. And then Joe looked at him and said, he was like, just know this, Sergio. Every day that you're practicing, I'm practicing, and I'm still getting better every day.
Yo.
And I was like, holy shit. Like, I never thought of that as a 25-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
Hearing my cousin Joe, who at the time had already won, you know, the Grammy for Jazz Album of the Year. He'd won like 4 Grammys by then. He's, you know, selling out the Hollywood Bowl. He's got the LA Phil behind him. He's in his 60s. He's already been a Berkeley professor for years. And to hear of someone that you think of once you hit that level of talent in your instrument, or mastery in your instrument, that you're like, okay, cool, I'm good, right? But here he is being like, I'm practicing every day. Like, so I'm still getting better and everything. And I was like, wow, that level of dedication or obsession or whatever to be so perfect at your craft.
Yeah.
Like, to even have that drive still to where you're like, you know, because obviously when we're young, we're in our teens, there's ego, right? Or there's ambition, whatever it may, maybe it's not ego and it's just ambition, whatever it is, you know. But to be in your 60s at the top of your game, and you've already been on the top of your game for 25 years. You've already been on the cover of Downbeat magazine several, and he's still practicing every day. And it blew Sergio's mind too. I mean, it defeated him. I don't think he was inspired by it. I think he was like, oh, damn, you're still practicing.
Well, it's important, man. Like I said, you always got to learn.
Yeah.
You always got to learn. Like, I don't see it as a destination. It's always a journey.
Yeah.
And even some, like, the best musicians that I've ever that I looked up to, they still like, yeah, man, I'm still learning, bro. Like, like, it was crazy because, you know, I looked up to, back in the UK culture, like, you know, Jamiroquai's drummer, like Derek McKenzie. He's like one of my good friends, but he was like, yeah, man, I'm always learning. And I'm like, dude, I look up to you. I used to play Deeper Underground all the time as a kid. I was like ear drumming to that stuff. And then, you know, Simon Phillips, when I finally got to meet him, like, he's like, yeah, we're always learning. We're always learning something new. And Simon has been like probably the heartbeat of my inspiration as a drummer and a writer. And, you know, when I got to share that cover on Rhythm magazine with him, and we did our front cover, I was like, this is mad. I was a 7-year-old kid with a poster of him, like when he used to have this sweat, like the headband.
I'll never forget. I used to love Simon Phillips back then with the sweatband.
With the joggers, the tight joggers with the Tama logo on it, and his knee-high socks.
He was one of the first double kick drummers ripping that like the same time as a snare.
Dude, that was the guy. Yeah. And I used to be like, one day I'm going to be like him without the tights. But that's how, then I got to meet him when I was 16 because, like, you know, I knew Jack Bruce as a kid. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Jack Bruce from Cream?
Cream, yeah.
What?
And Ginger Baker. And, like, basically I knew.
What?
So I was in a band with Natasha Bruce. Like, well, her name's Natasha Eleonore, but she took her mother's...
Jack Bruce's son or daughter.
Yeah. And she's still one of my dear friends.
Wow.
And I didn't realize her dad was like a rock and roll star, like, you know, Jack Bruce. So he used to come to our shows and I was in a reggae band with her.
Oh my God.
And he used to come and goes, yeah, right. Yeah. You got great sound. And that's how I got signed to Zildjian. I was signed to Zildjian I went to Ginger Baker's honorary at Shepherd's Bush Empire. That's where Simon Phillips was. Keith Carlock was there. Like, so many iconic people were there, and Charlie, like, Watts was there. God rest his soul.
God, yeah.
And I got to, like, the after party was at the Key West Hotel, so like we went in there and just like I just see, like, at that time Keith was like, you know, he was there at the snack bar and just like eating all these hors d'oeuvres and stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna do the same because this is Keith Carlock, you know.
Love him.
And I wasn't signed, and Jack introduced me to Tina and John DeChristopher.
Wow.
At the time when he was at Zildjian. And
Jack Bruce introducing you to Zildjian?
Well, Jack was like, you should sign him. Like you should give him a deal. He's a drummer. He's got something. Blah, blah. And John was like, I've heard so much about you. Yeah, let's sort something out. And then I signed at like
Jack Bruce introduced you to Zildjian.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. And then Jack's wife Margaret actually like connected the dots, and then I got to go and pick my cymbals out, and I was like, this is crazy. And then I knew Jack was such an iconic. I've got drunk with him. Like, wow, we were in Ronnie Scott's and we had like a laugh. Like, we had this validated moment when I brought Natasha to my own headline show last year in Ronnie Scott's with my band, and she was there, and we got emotional because like it was my friend Renell Shaw, who's a fantastic composer and a bass player. He plays for Rudimental.
Oh, sick.
And we the three of us were with Jack, and Jack got Renell like really like pissed, like with alcohol. And I remember Jack just booing the double bass player on stage. He's like, play a real bass. Play a real bass.
Wow.
Like, and we were just like drunk and we're like, oh, this is embarrassing.
You don't want to get heckled by Jack Bruce.
I know, but Jack...
I'd quit playing bass the next day.
I know.
The poor bloke at Ronnie Scott's.
But Jack was just a fun guy. And like I say, like the story behind it was just so sweet. Like seeing him and then seeing... like Ginger doing that thing, and Ginger is Ginger.
Yeah, of
so
course.
I kept my distance, but
he seems intimidating.
He's intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
But like the whole purpose of it is like there's always been really great, important people in my life, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah,
like, if I wasn't in Natasha's band, I wouldn't have been with Zildjian.
Yeah,
she, thanks to her and Jack and Margaret, they connected me because I was playing like stag cymbals back in the day.
Yeah.
I like cracked Zildjians.
Anything you could.
Yeah,
anything you could. Same.
And Jack was like, you got to play some good cymbals. I know the guys from Zildjian. And at the time he was like touring with Cream doing the reunion thing.
Reunion tour.
Yeah, at Royal Albert Hall. And then there was like another thing that they were doing with, he was with the All-Star band. So Horacio Hernandez.
Oh God.
And Robbie Amin, like those two guys were playing together. And like
Sick.
Gary Husband, he played with the Gary Husband big band. Like he was playing the jazz. Gary was playing the kit for Jack Bruce's big band. So we went to see him play with the big band, and that's how I met Gary. And Gary's known me since I was a kid, and Gary's like now on my 5th album. Like
that's so cool, dude.
And it's all this connection. And then Simon, I'm gonna, I bumped into Simon at NAMM, and I'm like, let's write a song together. He's like, yeah, just let me know when, and we'll just hang. We'll just do it. So I've got an idea that me and Simon are gonna do something, and I've got like new things happening which I can't tell you, Tama related, but I've got a new kit coming which I'm gonna like kind of birth with Simon to do a little cool thing.
That's so cool, man. I love your story. It's like it's so wild.
It's crazy.
It's so wild to go from like, I mean to go from getting stabbed and having your synesthesia appear vividly to composing when you don't know how to read music, and just by composing via colors to then like having Jack Bruce introduce you to Zildjian. That's so crazy. And then like the Simon Phillipses and the Aaron Spears and all these people that have like played such a strong role in your life. And now you being, and Thomas Lang and Josh Groban, like the whole story. It's cool because people clearly love you. People clearly really love you and are not just a fan of your music, but also they got to love you because you have such a great heart and you're such a great human, and that'll take you so much further than just like anyone can love your music. But then if they were like, if you were some, asshole, they're not ain't nothing gonna happen.
We got to stick together.
Yeah.
I think that's the key, and that's how I've been able to have like that same thing, that power of love and appreciation. Same with like Mark Stevens, because he plays for Shaka Khan. He called me and said, Kaz, like you want to, you'd be great for doing Shaka. So I did like a show for Shaka Khan. It was like 0 rehearsals, but it was all love. Everybody was love. And the opportunities that I got was just purely because everyone's just, your heart is the key in anything. It's not ego. It's your heart.
So I want to talk to you about, so you just moved to LA from London. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people have want, right? They want to move to LA or to move to any new city, like for any musician, whether it's New York or if they want to move to London or Nashville or whatever it may be. But how hard was it for you, and how big of a decision was it in the effort that came into it for you to actually make it happen and move to LA?
Yeah.
Was that super difficult? Was it just the right thing at the right time, right opportunities? Obviously, you got a gig, you have a visa, because that's
an important thing.
It's a huge, important pain in the ass, horrible parts. That's a huge blessing. But even besides the visa, like how hard was that to move here?
It was a life decision to make. It was very difficult at the start. When I first started with Josh, my whole perception was like, let me just move.
Yeah.
But it's not easy because you have a lot of sacrifices to make. You're in a new place. And I was grateful that my career at that time as a drummer without the gig was in a good place. I just decided to go, you know what, I'm going to do it. But then I kind of was sussing it out whilst I was on tour with Josh and realized that I'm going to space out for a bit. I'm going to not do it straight away. I'm going to take my time. And then I ended up waiting. And this year was probably a penultimate moment for me to do that because I felt ready. And I always said to myself, if I don't take the risk or if I don't take the leap of faith, I will never know.
Yep.
And I'm grateful of taking that leap because since I got here, so many people have, I was incognito. I didn't tell anybody that I moved here. And I only told the small people that I caught up, like Brian Fraser Moore, and Brian got excited. He's like, dude, we're going to do some stuff. I've got to call you for some stuff. And he's prepping me for some things that I can't say, but it's a blessing because I look like Brian is one of the busiest guys,
Yep.
He's doing bloody every sort of gig, and the fact that and he's an important part of my life because he inspired me. So things like that have happened, and the Thomas thing and all these things are great things are happening. So I definitely feel like LA has a lot of opportunity, but I'm glad I came now as opposed to earlier because I prepared and built more of myself as an artist to then come in knowing that there's worth of going in there where people will call you and also learning not to, it's also controlling my heart, my ego. And it's I'm saying I have an ego, but an ego in the sense of not having being so vain about things and stuff like that. Because I think whenever I was in LA, whenever I was on tour or rehearsing here, and I used to see the nightlife of this,
yep,
and I see musicians, I saw a lot of insecure musicians.
Oh yeah.
I saw a lot of you're not yourself. I'm the guy that will wear shades indoors and look like a cool MF. And I'm like, that's not you though.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that. And that's what freaked me out. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to be who I am. And then I got to meet people that are really true, like yourself, and the whole Jammcard thing that you do is fantastic. So when I got to understand personality, where I can fit in, because that's scary for a London guy to go into LA when people sometimes intense, yo man, how's it going? Yo bro, yo, let's shed bro, yeah, yo bro, dude, all that stuff. And I'm like, whoa, and I'm like, you're right, mate. How you doing?
What'd you say?
What you say, mate? What you say, bruv? What you say to me? It's I'm protective over my heart as well. And I just wanted to know that I came in the right time, and I'm glad I came now. So it's really grounded me, and it's been fantastic. It's mad as well. I'll go into a music shop, or I'll walk on the streets or something, and there's a drummer that just goes, dude, are you Kaz Rodriguez? And I'm like, yeah, how are you, man? Is it nice? And he's like, oh, yeah, oh, you're really nice. You're being really well spoken to me. I'm like, yeah, because,
because I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And it's like NAMM show. People were just surprised that I'm friendly. I'm like, well, aren't we all supposed to be friendly? You can't be yo, get away from me. Like, nah.
I mean, you said it. There's a lot of attitude. There's a lot of ego. Not from everyone. I have like, and I mean, you already have people in your life that are out here that are incredible, that are so giving to you and loving to you and open to you. I feel so blessed to have like such an amazing crew of people around me, people I look up to that have taken me under their wing or vice versa. And now, when the table, not that the table's turned, but when they look at you as you look up to them, but they just look at you as a peer, as an equal. And you're like, whoa, like that's eye opening. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes confidence to even accept that.
Yes.
You know, because if not, you could still have that ego or that insecurity and the sunglasses and the whatever. Yeah. And then you're going to miss an opportunity because of your ego or your insecurity.
Dude. And I always say, be yourself, be you, because it's like, that's the character that makes you unique.
Yeah.
Don't be the other person that is already that person. Be you. Like, I was a victim of that. I think we've all been that. You know, when you're younger, it's that thing, like you said, it's like the arrogance and all the drive, the dedication, the kind of like, let's just be cliquey and let's do this. And it was the thing that I did in London. Like there were so many cliques there that I just never got to be a part of. So I just became a lone wolf. So I just made drum tracks.
Yeah. But it made you global.
Well, there you go.
It made you global by doing that, by taking a step back instead of hyper focusing on localizing yourself and being big in your one scene. Yeah. You took it to the internet,
dude.
And you made music for other people. A lot of times it's like, listen to my music.
My music, yeah.
Right? It's like, it's still your music, but your music is made for other people to contribute to.
Yeah. And I did that. And the main thing as well is like, I used to get told, and I used to get bullied, bro. Like, I got bullied until like 24. Like, drummers that I can't even say used to say, dude, you're limiting yourself to what you're doing, and your music's not going to go anywhere.
Oh, I can't listen to those people.
And then like shit changed. I was just like, and now I'm in a different place in my career, and now those people are hitting me up going, Kaz, you've done so well, and like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, you just have to believe in anything, and just support it. And I still represent hard for my country, even though Brexit is a bit of a bummer, but it's
definitely a bummer.
But as a UK, as a guy who lived in a small town in London, who's now coming to LA, like, I've made my ambition, you know, and these are aspiring to people that are still in London that want to do that.
Yep.
And I want to be an advocate and also maybe some hope of inspiration to that person that can go, well, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kaz, for doing that. But at the same time, I want to, like, my main thing is to inspire everybody as well as my inspiration comes from the inspiration behind the audience. Like, that gives me the drive to do better. Like, when I release an album, I ask the drummers going, like, what do you want? Yeah. What do you want me to do? What can I do better? And I take that in. Yeah. And I'll say, I'll do that. I ask everyone. I'm like, there's no perfection, but I'm willing to take criticism. I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to, as long as it's with love and not hate, then I can appreciate. Mm-hmm. There you, what, you got buttons and stuff on that? That's crazy.
You know, just in case I need to do something.
That's a good one.
So speaking about getting better, we'll wrap soon, but the music industry. So you have created your own path, which is what I really admire about you.
Thank you.
Because I think for anyone listening to this, a lot of people are aspiring, either drummers, musicians, songwriters, composers, whatever it may be. And there's a lot of different paths and there's a lot of different ways in how you can make money, because in order to survive in the music industry, you got to be able to figure out how to monetize in the music industry. So obviously you're getting it from touring, you're getting it from your tracks and being a composer now and doing scoring for video games, stuff like that. But how do you think the music industry could be better? What would you like changed about the music industry?
I would really love, in terms of like the musician, the live player, to be valued a bit more. Mm-hmm. I think in the business that I've seen now, that there is so much of this like undercut that's happening. I see a lot of this kind of, I value what you do, and then they'll come up with a price.
Yeah.
And then you just get this thing that's like, I'm not worth that much. And I'm not talking big numbers. I'm saying fair.
Yeah.
And I think how the Vinnies, the JRs, the legends that like the Quincy's, they have a mark, but they lived in an era where you were valued at what you do. And I feel like being unique and having something different, and the musician that plays that has such incredible talent, like any musician that I see, is undervalued of what they do. And I just want to like find a way that, like what you guys are doing is an amazing thing. Like with Jammcard, it's like you're connecting musicians with producers, music directors, composers, everyone, and you're helping them to just have a amazing community and have opportunity. And I think there should be more of that, universally speaking. I think as a live player, because we're doing so, now music is just like, here's a computer.
Yeah.
Check my MPC and I made a tune. I just used Fruit Loops and made a banger. It's like, use musicians. I just done a trap. I just done a drill pack.
Oh, really?
I just done a drill pack for Splice.
Nice.
With a drill producer called Ep.1 on the beat. He's done stuff with like Drake and stuff like that. And I did a live drill pack.
Sick.
I was like, has anyone played drill live? And I was like, no. So I was like, I'll do it.
That's dope.
Yeah, but that thing is like value, and that company like valued what I do,
right? And
then brought me on the table to do it with this guy Ep.1, who's like a sweet kid, smokes a lot of weed, but sweet kid. Like, I was like hotboxed whilst I'm trying to do like a drill beat. I'm like, I don't even, what's going on right now?
Is there a click? There is a click.
There is a click somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like I said, that sort of stuff is like more value of like, and interacting.
How do you make that happen?
What? How did I make that happen, or how do you make that happen?
How do you make that happen?
Just connect, man.
Yeah.
Just connect with like what you're doing. If you don't have Jammcard app, like get on that Jammcard app and connect with these different styles of musicians, because they might appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like a hip hop producer will probably go, I use computers all the time. And I'm like, well, no, get a live musician.
Yeah.
How does that change your sound?
Right.
Let's try it. That's the whole point of what, that's how you can get into it. And that can birth into something else, because you might be on someone's record who's done that, and they'll be like, we're going to tour this live now. And you'll be like, well, let's just get the guy that did the thing. You know what I mean? And that's how you can really build those connections. And that's how it worked for me. Like, I know that this guy Ep.1's going to be doing some live stuff, and I didn't expect him to call me and go, well, let's do some live stuff now.
Yeah.
Do you want to MD it? I'm like, what? I'm like, cool. I've never done drill, but hey, it's a good little change. You know what I mean? So
sick, dude.
Yeah. But to be different and just be willing to play something. Like, people know me for fusion. I'm like, I'm going to try, I do Josh Groban.
Yeah.
Like, I play underground electronic stuff when I grew up. I played drum and bass and all that stuff live, and then morphed it with fusion. But now I can play drum and bass. I'll play house music. I'll play funk. I want to try different things, because if it works, it works. If it doesn't, at least you tried.
For sure.
So just go for it. Explore your territory in different genres, because it might all work and it actually helps you grow.
I love it, dude. Well, Kaz, it's been a great convo, man. I always love hanging with you.
You too, bro. Thank you for having me, brother.
Welcome to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
The world is your oyster. I'm excited to see. We got to have you back in like 6 months for it to be like, what happened? You're going to be like, mate.
I ate a lot of Lebanese food because of you.
We should actually go get Lebanese food tonight.
Oh, I'm so down.
Are you hungry?
Super hungry.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Much love, Kaz Rodriguez at Kaz Drums. Follow Kaz. You already know Kaz, and definitely watch the Kaz Jam videos that are on YouTube. The two that are out is Kaz and Aaron Spears. and then Devin Sticks Taylor and Rico Nichols. And hopefully we can finish a couple more and put them up.
We will, bro. We will.
We're going to dive through some hard drives right now.
Let's go.
Pull it out of the archive. You're hearing it here first. Much love, bro. Thank you, doggy.
Thank you, my brother.